And hello, welcome everyone to a really deflating episode. I gotta be honest. Normally we're hip hopping and hopping ready to go, but instead, what's his real name? Bill Goldberg ruined our dreams and hopes and everything in between. Not only that, I have to work 30 hours this weekend, but that's beside the point. The point being, I was looking for wrestling as an escape this week. I didn't get my wish. In fact, I didn't get my wish at all. So,
well, we found out that Raw is Silverberg.
Wait, what? What does that mean?
Raw is Silverberg. It's not Goldberg. It's Silverberg. He's gray. He's not Goldberg. Silverberg.
Oh, well, you win some, you lose some, and that joke certainly did it for me. But Raw certainly is, as the kids call it, Silverberg. I should say, as Brad calls it, Silverberg. We're gonna get away from the format of just flat out analysis for the show. Because normally what we do, if you're not a listener, it's the Voices of the Voiceless podcast. This is episode 61. Podbean and iTunes. You can download us there, and at the OVTV podcast on Twitter. We're trying to figure out everything, and in doing so, we're kind of going to go off the walls a little bit. If we don't even cover a show, there's more just to cover than the show itself. There is. Because as Vince once said, no one is bigger than the WWE. Well, no one is bigger than this podcast. And that means we're going off the rails, baby. And it's going to be a bumpy ride. It's just as bumpy as Survivor Series. Or, I can't say anything that wouldn't be extremely hurtful to somebody. So I'm just going to leave it at that.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I told it this is gonna be. I said deflated in the open because it's the wind was taken out of my sail. My balls were chopped off from my scrotum.
That must have been painful.
Brad lost his mojo. He can't find his smile, as it were.
No, not after this past weekend. I can't. We have a 49-year-old who hasn't wrestled in 12 years that is the biggest star in the company.
Yeah. I thought there was more.
Yeah.
Is there more? Can you cut?
There's more. No, there isn't.
Well, that's a bummer. I wanted to take a big sip of water.
Speaking of bums, I've got a clip I want to play you.
You have a clip?
I do. An audio clip from Ryback's podcast. I teased this on Twitter, and now I'm going to play it for your delight and reaction. John Fisher.
Yeah.
Podcast listeners.
Yeah.
The Ryback.
Uh-oh.
But nobody wants to look at a guy with a dumpy ass wrestle. Nobody. Even what's worse than watching two men pretend to fight than watching two men pretend to fight with dumpy asses?
Or what's worse? What's
or
really
a female with a dumpy ass. Nobody wants to see that shit.
I think what's worse than that is a completely flat ass. Even it makes you.
Yoshitatsu was always known to have the flat ass.
Really?
Yeah. Which was actually funny. There was a period up there where they made Yoshitatsu judge everybody's ass because he had to. Ted DiBiase and Cody were behind this, I believe, in which Ted and Cody actually scored the highest, I believe. Yoshi thought they had the best asses in the world. It was highly disturbing.
Here's the headline.
Yeah.
Ryback says Yoshi has a flat ass.
There you go, John Fisher. Your reaction.
At some point, I'm just not going to have reactions anymore because, I hate. I really do hate them. I don't hate a lot of people, and you've known me for a while now. I hate is not really something I use a lot unless it's considered the booking, but just beside that, why say something like that? It's like he doesn't care what anyone else thinks. You know, it's kind of like Scott Dawson.
Oh.
Am I wrong? Tell me I'm wrong. Please.
Dawson did apologize. I think
Did he?
Well, I don't think Ryback's going to apologize.
No. 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 Did he actually apologize, though? I'm serious.
Imagine the corporate WWE environment. You're backstage, and you're told you have to pull down your pants so Yoshitatsu can look at your ass and rate it.
I have a nice ass, so I would have won. Third place. I'll take third place. Seriously. No. Oh. Why? Why did you bring this up? We're talking. So much happened.
This is a hot scoop.
No, it's not. It's on a podcast. There's no scoop. Are you kidding me? Oh, Jesus. Well, good start. You know what? Now I'm even more deflated. My ass is now deflated because of you. It's all your fault. Whatever.
But speaking of outrageous things, we've got a tweet. It happened. Yes, a tweet that happened from Mr. Dawson, right?
Yes.
Of the Revival.
I thought I was waiting for you to say something. That was an awkward long pause. It was like was that for drama? Was that for dramatic effect?
Yes, absolutely.
That was weird. Okay, good. Now we have an excuse. You can continue.
Yeah. Okay. Scott Dawson tweets, BWE, we're the hottest act in tag wrestling. You think we're going to debut in a stupid multi-team gimmick match? Hashtag the Revival, hashtag top guys.
Awesome.
Then Bubba Ray Dudley replies at Ray 5150. You managed to insult the entire creative team and your fellow workers in one tweet. Complete disrespect.
Yeah, like he's never said anything publicly before. Hypocrite.
Yeah. That was followed up. Brian G. James, the Road Doggy Dog at WWE Road Dog. Keep talking like that, and you won't debut at all. Hashtag didn't know. Damn.
Why? Who cares? I'm at a loss for words. Road Dogg is such an asshole. I think he's not an intelligent human being. I think he's an idiot. I think that he has no idea what writing a television show deals with. The guy's a moron. His opinion should not and should never matter. Ever. I hate it. I hate it so much. Stop me before I get ahead of myself. This guy is the same guy that still thinks that 50-50 booking is a good idea because the win and losses don't matter. It's the end that matters. You're absolutely wrong. Completely wrong. And until he figures that out, he needs to shut his fat fucking mouth until someone shuts it for him. It won't be Vince because his mouth is so far up his own asshole that it's impossible for him to do so. And other such things.
Yeah, would have thought you would have said that his mouth was full of Roman's dick, but okay, that's also a fair point. I thought, you know what, to me, this was not just like a comment from him, and I think he's an asshole. I think he's a dickhead, and pretty ironic, this whole thing coming from him. He was such a troublemaker in his days, and, you know, I think this is very telling for me of the environment they have created, the culture at WWE, where guys can't even be a heel on Twitter. You know, oh, what are you doing? They're like little children being put back into line, put back into place. It was just really pathetic to see. You know, really sad to see because it tells you they have got to be walking on eggshells if that's the way they're treated. If they're willing to see then imagine what they do when the public isn't watching, when the fans aren't watching. I think it was, very symptomatic, and so it sucks because that's not how you lead people, and I don't think Road Dogg knows how to lead people, and he's a fucking moron, and he's in a position of power, and it is what it is. But it's like it's not about, these guys could be great, they could make money, but you know what? You got to fall in line and be a good boy like everybody else and do what we fucking tell you, and don't go off script, or you're going to get punished, and we're going to bury you, and you won't debut, or whatever the case may be. I mean, it's just totally ridiculous. He's a prick.
It's nicely said. Nicely said. Well, maybe he wrote what happened on Sunday. So, without further ado, tell the world what happened on Sunday at Survivor Series in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. They had the whole world talking. And Brad, this is all your area because you and your wrestling expertise was able to watch the man that is Goldberg in his prime and his start, as well as Brock Lesnar. I did not get to do either of them. I'm the subject of highlights and the network. So tell everyone what happened. Let's go. Let's start. And let's disregard everything else that fucking happened at Survivor Series and NXT TakeOver, because NXT TakeOver was awesome. And some of the Survivor Series matches were pretty damn good. But all of that's irrelevant. What we're worried about here is what took place with Goldberg and Brock Lesnar. And I want you to do it in the amount of time it took them to do the match.
Okay, so it was like, what, a minute and 26 seconds?
86 seconds.
Yeah, a minute 26. What a time to be alive. Event that's a minute 26. Yeah. Okay, so basically what we had was a 1998 WCW squash match with Goldberg. Okay, so what I want to be clear, Goldberg took longer to beat opponents like Hugh Morris and Raven in WCW than he did to beat Bill Goldberg, his opponent at Survivor Series, Brock Lesnar. So I guess the logic is that Hugh Morris is better than Brock Lesnar. No.
Yes, he is.
It was a shock factor. It was a moment. Do you need moments? Yes.
Yeah.
Should that be what you focus on a majority of the time? No. Now we know you're going to have a rematch.
Yes.
We could end up seeing, hypothetically, them wrestle for the title at WrestleMania.
Now,
Goldberg wins the Rumble. Brock Lesnar is back in the title picture, wins the title, and Goldberg beats Brock Lesnar to retire.
Now, tell the people at home why that's a bad idea.
Well, they're doing the Band-Aid fixes. They're putting over the part-timers as being better than anybody full-time on their roster. And that's the problem I have with it, right? They're teaching you that all of these guys who are part-time, all of these guys who are old, that were stars from yesteryear, are better than any full-time guy they have wrestling night in and night out hitting the towns today. I wonder why they can't draw arenas, why the product interest is down, why the ratings are down. So they're basically presenting to you that the biggest star in the company now is 49 years old, right? I think you can agree that that's the way they're positioning things, right?
they're positioning things in the eyes of the stockholder, which basically is big pop name, shock value, David Arquette, blah, 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 blah. And the ratings didn't improve, did they?
They did not improve, and I kept hearing this talking point that, this will get them talking. This was good because it gets people talking. Got a little news flash for you. Gets people talking means nothing if it doesn't translate into an increase in revenue, right? If ratings aren't going up. If we aren't seeing more people in the arenas, if there isn't more buzz about the product and people are talking, are more people wearing wrestling T-shirts out in the general public? Is there something quantifiable that says this had any real impact? And the answer is no. But what they have done is actually hurt their own business because they're telling you that 49-year-old Goldberg, who will be 50 next month and competing at the Royal Rumble is, at 50 years old, is the biggest star in the company. And the second biggest star in the company is a 39-year-old Brock Lesnar, who also hates the business. And then the next biggest star in the company is 51-year-old Undertaker and 47-year-old WWE COO Triple H. And then you've got everybody else is a B-plus player. This is the top echelon of WWE. John Cena is part-time. I would include him in that. He's close to 40, but he's not there. He's part-time as well. So maybe you include him in that part-time mix. Basically, that's what you're telling. These part-time old guys who are stars from yesterday are better than everybody you have today. I mean, could you imagine if they actually tried to book top stars today like Goldberg?
Like
let
Braun
him
Strowman,
say,
Rusev.
let him get vicious and let him, bull through people. And imagine that when they fucking did it, it worked.
Of course it works.
Do you think Goldberg works if he had 50-50 booking?
No.
Do you think Goldberg works if he had to go out there and make a 15-minute promo and make corny lines back in 1998? Nope. Scripted corny promos and make, dick jokes and whatever? No, of course not. But this is why they're never going to have another Goldberg. And another top star. But they've presented themselves. They've done this to themselves. These guys are the top. Everybody else, is a good in-ring worker, but they're a dime a dozen, and they're not true mainstream stars, and so it really doesn't matter. I absolutely hate it. In Brock's, in the appeal of someone beating Brock and getting a rub has worn off a lot, to be honest, because of how they've booked him. He's in a much weaker. He came back to WWE. But at this point, I would much rather salvage it and see if it works with the young guy rather than putting Goldberg over.
Well, they have.
Basically, what they've done is they've completely wasted the streak. They've completely wasted any momentum Lesnar could have had by getting, a guy over, a true star over. I mean, it's ruined.
Here's the thing, and they did try. They did try to get folks over, like Roman Reigns. If Roman Reigns would have worked, Goldberg never comes back, in my opinion. I don't believe that for a second. Because Reigns could have been that popular guy with the market appeal and the overall aura of popularity that allows them to take a young guy and shoot him up to the moon. But he failed. They had to call an audible, and it completely changed everything because he couldn't do it well enough. Now, Mark Madden, who we all know, whether it's fortunate or unfortunate, he was an announcer for WCW before they failed and were bought out. And I'll give the guy some credit. He knows his wrestling. And he said, and I quote, let me look at the part. It's not about part-time versus full-time or what performers are perceived to deserve. It's about what gets the most eyes on the product and puts money in the bank. It's Wrestling 101. WWE hasn't followed that formula often enough recently, which is why doing it now might strike some as a bit confusing. Who else should have beaten Lesnar? Dean Ambrose, Rusev, Cesaro, Dolph Ziggler? Don't make me laugh. Guys like that couldn't draw money if you dipped them in super glue and dragged them through a bank vault. Decent performers? Yes. Money? No. Too many performers in WWE have records near the 500 mark. It's rendered them impotent. Tainted. It's the mid-card era. You can't unsee mediocrity. End quote.
But I think he's got a lot of valid points with as could have been stars, but they have been presented so terribly, like the 50-50 booking, as he mentions. It is the mid-card era in that they just book people 50-50, even their world champions. They've devalued their world championships so much that they mean so little.
They do.
So I agree with that. They absolutely could have had someone beat Brock Lesnar, but they've just damaged so many guys. This is why I thought, someone like a Baron Corbin would have been ideal. Because he hasn't been completely tainted.
But with Baron Corbin have drawn money, and I like Baron too. But I mean, Brad, let's be very candid. I don't see Baron Corbin as a guy to draw money, and that's, to Mark's point, is what it's all about: drawing money, making money.
You don't know that though, because you've got to give guys the opportunity, and the mid-card guys aren't going to draw opportunity, right? So if you're not going to give them the chance, why not give a new guy coming in the chance who physically looks like he could compete, who is an athlete, who does have a fighting background, and why not take a chance? I mean, what do you have to lose at this point? The Roman Reigns experiment did not work. Seth Rollins has not worked. Kevin Owens has not worked. What do you have to lose?
Time,
beat him.
Resources.
You got to have someone beat him. What does that do for the product when Mark Madden says, with all due respect, he says it has to do with the money in their pocketbooks? Well, I mean, what has increased? Tell me how much more money they're making on attendance, on shows, on house shows. Does he have a T-shirt? I don't know. Does he have a T-shirt out? But how are they making more money with Goldberg? How are the ratings going up? He's not working house shows. He's not working every TV show. He's not working every pay-per-view. And he's going away, by the way, after WrestleMania.
Yeah. So
he won't be there, but the rest of the guys that have been made to look inferior to Brock Lesnar will be. Now that Goldberg can squash Lesnar, and that everyone else is inferior to Lesnar. So you have a bunch of loser jobbers on your roster, and that's not going to draw.
Do you have the ratings from Raw? What were they, if you have them?
They were close to around 3 million.
All right. Comparative to like what? Like 3.1 million, 3.2? Not even?
I mean, they were the same. They're the same. There's no ratings increase.
Well,
like I said, the buzz that get them talking doesn't matter if it's not quantifiable. Mark Madden talks about the money. Well, show me the money. Where is the money from this? I don't see it.
Does Goldberg? Well, I'm not speaking for him, but T-shirts. I want to see the numbers, and I wish we could. We used to be able to dictate how well acts did on pay-per-views. We can't anymore. It's all on the network through subscribers, and all of them are free. So that, my argument's out the door immediately. So I don't know how to base it anymore and see if they're doing well. Every pay-per-view's sold out. Most of Raws are always sold out. SmackDown's getting there. Maybe, it is the mid-card era. I can't disagree with that. Because guys like Rollins and Ambrose and Ziggler and Cesaro, and those are mid-card guys. They would dominate the mid-card scene in the late 90s, early 2000s. It wouldn't even be a competition. They would be very good. But where is your Rock, your Foley, your Austin, your Cena, your Batista, your Taker? Did I miss one? Your Hogan? Where are they? We haven't had one.
I don't know. But if they make a goddamn heel tweet on Twitter, they get put back in line like all the other sheep. So there is going to be no Rock in Austin because they even make a fucking goddamn tweet that's out of line where they sound like, ooh, this could be construed negatively. Then they're quickly whipped back into line by the boss man like the Road Dogg.
Yeah.
Who was showing up fucking high to work and smoking marijuana and backstage in TNA and showing up late consistently. I mean, this guy's a fucking moron.
Clearly.
But that's why they're not going to have a Rock. That's why they're not going to have an Austin, etc., etc. They are their own worst enemy. They are the problem. They're limiting their own success. Instead, they would rather tone things down for advertisers, market the brand, keep a bunch of mid-carders so they're not too valuable, so they don't become bigger than the product, like a Rock. And that's just the way it works. And so, that's what they want, and that's what they get.
I want to know what's funny. A couple of tweets from the past few days. Cesaro tweeted, "I'm tired of it." Scott Dawson replied, "Me too." Let's see. Where's another one? Did you see the Road Dogg's apology?
No, what I saw was him lie and say it was a rib, which is, let me tell you something, D-O-double-G. We're not a bunch of D-U-M-B-A-S-S-E-S.
No, we
is.
That is.
We are not a bunch of dumb ass-is. Okay? Everybody knows that was not a rib, a work. That was you being a fucking prick, and you got called on it, and your dumbass had to apologize.
Yeah, that's exactly what it said. "Dear Scott Dawson, this is an official apology for ribbing you on social media. I've upset the balance of the universe. I beg forgiveness."
I mean, it's not funny. And what is Bully Bubba, whatever the fuck name he is, what business is it of his? You're not even in the goddamn company. Shut up.
Well, I think he is. I think he signed something.
Well, then why would he be interrupting in WWE business when nobody realizes he's in the company?
I don't know.
Jesus, I mean, these guys... I'll tell you what, I would not last in WWE. As much as I have loved professional wrestling my entire life, and I do mean basically my entire life, I would never last working there. I never would. Because he would say something like that to me.
And then he would
have a rude awakening.
Yep, that's why you make the big bucks, right? Well, all I know is that my opinion article is one of the top 5 read on my website for the last 2 days, and it's pretty damn awesome. And do you want me to read a couple of the comments? So I wrote an article saying that the match was a disgrace, and so was Survivor Series. So I had a few people tell me this. Someone said, "Please learn how to spell." I know how to spell. Why? Please learn how to not be ugly. Because she needs help with that. I agree with a few. This one's from Daniel Fox. All right.
Oh, this was a good one.
I agree with a few points. However, you lost all credibility when you called wrestling fake.
Jesus Christ. And, people like him exist. And they vote, and eventually they breed.
Wrestling is not fake. It's scripted, right? And I love wrestling until the day I die on the earth, and it will never change. But I'm sorry to burst all of your bubbles. It is a simulated fight that only a few are good at.
And one of those people is not Kevin Owens. He's highly overrated.
Yeah, so how would you have booked the Goldberg-Lesnar match to begin with? We'll get into Owens in a second.
Well, I just, from where I stand, right?
Not have them wrestle. I think that's your answer.
That's exactly correct. I don't think Look, everything I just said, and, these two could have opponents. They just shouldn't be each other. I mean, Brock Lesnar, if he was going to lose, it should have been to a younger guy. I've already given my opinion on that. I do think Baron Corbin could draw money. I think you at least have to take the chance because there are options, right? So there's that. But Goldberg, I mean, if you're going to have him win, why not have him beat some mid-card 50? Who cares? Yeah. I mean, seriously. But this is just for him to come back, and you get the name of him coming back, and he wants a final match or two. Then put him over someone who, you know what? He's kind of a name brand, but he doesn't really matter.
Well, remember the night of whenever Jim Ross said, oh yeah, that tweet was hilarious. Hold on. For crying out loud. I love Bully Ray. You puppets are so easy.
Yeah.
What was that in a reference of? Like, God. Whatever.
Yes, we're the puppets. You're the sycophant doing WWE's bidding with some rookies or some new guys or some young guys, whatever you want to call them. And we're the puppets. No, motherfucker, you're the WWE puppet, so shove it up your ass. Nobody buys your bullshit that was a work, that we were manipulated by you. You're a fucking asshole. You were exposed on Twitter, and you were forced to tuck your tail between your goddamn legs.
Yeah, it's like they think the fans are stupid, and you know where all that...
They do, and it shows.
You know where that all derives from? That all derives from Vince McMahon, who can manipulate the fans, who can manipulate wrestlers. And I heard it on a podcast yesterday. Do you know how easy it is for him to get a guy that loves pro wrestling and use him like a fucking rag, cleaning up a mess? It's not hard. You get guys like Lesnar and Goldberg who don't give a fuck about wrestling, and if Vince says, well, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. No, they're not, because they're not going to get paid well enough, and they well know that they're good enough to draw something, and Vince has to like tuck down and say, well, okay, fine, this is the way you want. It works just like that. Vince, and he can abuse whoever he wants, and whatever way he wants it. And Jim Ross is falling into that category. What were you going to say?
Well, tell me, what did Jim Ross have to say?
So that night after the match, he said, congrats to Goldberg for a massive and decisive win tonight at Survivor Series. From one Okie to another, proud of your effort to prepare. What did he prepare for?
Yeah, please tell me. Proud of your effort of getting 6 or 7 figures to wrestle a goddamn 1 minute, 26-second match. Proud of your effort to prepare for making 6, 7 figures for that.
Yeah.
For a minute 26 of work. Yeah, great job. What do you want credit for next? Taking a piss in the fucking toilet? Good job, little boy. You took a piss in the toilet like you're supposed to.
Yeah. So he goes on to say, and it's quite long. He wrote an entire column on it, actually, in classic Jim Ross fashion. So I'm going to try to sum it up for all of you. So this is what Ross had to say. He basically goes on to say that, it seems logical to assume that when Goldberg accepted the WWE's offer to stay, it changed the creative for the main event in Toronto. In other words, the saga between the two will continue so that WWE can sail into WrestleMania 33 with some momentum and interest, and seeing what will hopefully be a creative and compelling conclusion to the rivalry. One of the most utilized creative touches on the wrestling territory TV shows over the years was when someone grabbed an upset in a match that said winning wrestler was supposed to lose. Big picture booking has been around as long as the ring has. But here's where Ross is wrong. Big picture booking hasn't been in the WWE since, well, I mean, maybe CM Punk and Cena, but that was booked the night before, the night of. Never mind. When big picture booking has been gone for years. It's not a thing anymore. They write the show that day of.
Yeah, they're clearly not thinking very far ahead.
No.
That's obvious.
And I don't know where are they going to go with it. I don't know. When are they going to decide what happens next? Probably the day before they decide what happens next.
Well, whenever the decision is, I think the decision has got to be taking the title off of Kevin Owens.
I don't think that's going to happen.
I mean, I think they have to. The experiment is not working at all. Right, his title reign has been probably even more boring than Seth Rollins.
Tell me, you have to admit the highlight reel was pretty damn good.
Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah, I thought it was maybe the highlight of the show. Chris Jericho was great, and I thought Owens did very well with him there as well. So, yeah, absolutely. I do agree with that. I just think his title run has been lackluster. I think, in fact, his momentum has slowed down greatly since winning Universal Championship altogether.
You're right.
So it hasn't done him any favors. I think, Jericho should be the champion. Universal champion.
But now he's on a month-to-month basis, though.
Well, they've had a chance to do it already, and certainly if they offered him the title, maybe he would sign for a few more months outside of a month-to-month deal. I don't know, but I don't think they have to worry about him taking the title and running, so they could always take it off him if they needed to, but I think he's the guy right now. He's the biggest star on the show, and he should be the champion.
But it isn't that easy. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, they'll just keep giving the title to a guy who looks terrible on TV, like a world champion. He doesn't look like a prize fighter.
Nope.
He just looks like a fat kid who was bullied in school, and he's the world champion, and he just doesn't look like a world champion. He's not increasing ratings. He's lost momentum, actually. I just don't think it's working. I think it's very boring. And I don't think he should be champion. I don't think he's world champion material anyway. So, yeah, there you go. And I know that's going to piss a lot of people off, but we've got to be objective and honest, and that's what I'm trying to do. It's not personal. It's just being objective and honest and, assessing the situation.
But everyone loves Kevin Owens. Everybody loves Shinsuke Nakamura. Everybody loves Seth Rollins. And who am I missing? Cesaro.
And Sami Zayn.
Keep him out of it. Keep him out of it. Sami Zayn did a hell of a job on Raw. What a sell. He also
did a hell of a job on Survivor Series.
Yes, he did.
1, 2, 3.
He got screwed.
He did the job.
He got screwed. What did we think of that? Miz winning from Dolph the week before and winning a Survivor Series, and he's going to win at TLC when he faces Ziggler in another rematch, the last one in a ladder match, which, by the way, hey, Raw, you want to know how to make gimmick matches mean something? Have it culminate at the end of a feud, not randomly for no reason.
Yeah, I thought it was a little weird, but I'm glad Miz actually won the match. I was pulling for him. I was hoping he'd win because I was afraid they were just making the title change to have Sami Zayn beat a heel for the title. I thought that's what they were going to do, and so they didn't. So they resisted that temptation. I'm very glad. The Miz's work is too good right now to be used as a 1-week transitional champion.
But what do you do with Ziggler? Where does he go?
The Fox News, apparently. I don't know. No, I kid. He signed a new deal. Okay, I don't know. Look, it's not my problem.
It is. We have to talk about it. I feel bad for Dolph. He's so good, and he loves wrestling. And Vince says, I don't care. I just don't.
Well, goddamn, what's wrestling? This is sports entertainment, pal.
Yeah. Oh, Fox News, huh? Well, Linda gave a lot to Donald this year. She might even be in his cabinet. I might be in his cabinet. Well, I'm inside Linda's cabinet all the time. Ho ho! What a mover!
By the way, Derek, there is your crappy Vince McMahon impersonations. I know you're looking forward to it.
Hey, mine are good. I think so. I think mine are pretty okay.
I think they're wonderful.
Thank you. Did he actually say crappy?
No, I don't think he said crappy.
No, well,
but I did promise some bad Vince McMahon impersonations, which we do tend to do.
I think mine's you can think however you want from yours. I think mine is great.
I bet you do. You also probably like the smell of your own farts.
Everybody does.
Maybe that was a bad analogy.
So I'm looking. Lesnar's
well, which show did you like better? Which show did you like better?
Out of all three? Or I guess it'd be four, huh?
No. Of TakeOver and Survivor Series, which was the better show?
Oh, TakeOver, without question.
Yeah, I would agree.
Easy.
So, what was the best match at TakeOver for you?
DIY and Revival, bar none.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that is probably the greatest tag team match in NXT history. I think they had a great match the last time these two wrestled. I think those were probably the top two tag team matches that I can remember in NXT history. Very great stuff.
Wait a second.
Great stuff.
You don't think American Alpha and the gentlemen? The fuck are their names?
The gentlemen.
They're the Extraordinary Gentlemen. That's a TNA gimmick. Shit.
What the hell have you been watching?
They're manly. Simon Gotch and wow.
The Vaudevillains?
Yeah, they had a hell of a match. Well, I guess it was Alpha carrying them mostly, but Alpha had a couple of great tag matches.
I think American Alpha is one of the top, few short list of great tag teams in wrestling. I think they're, already much better than the Young Bucks.
That's not true. You can't say that.
Well, I can say it. I just did.
But
I'll say it again.
But everyone at PWG is going to all have a slight heart attack because you said that.
Well, good. We don't need those fans anyway.
But it's PWG. There's Flips and Hoo-Ha's and the Young Bucks and Adam Cole. I don't know. And a bunch of other guys that weigh 180 pounds.
Yeah, pro wrestling gonorrhea. It is an STD of the business. A total atrocity. A bunch of 180-pound flippity-doos popping 500 marks in a gym with no AC, an armory, whatever. Who cares?
It's a volunteer fire a volunteer fire department, I believe. That or like a Boy Scout building. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought Rude was a fun match with.
That was great.
Yeah.
Ty Dillinger was very good.
He was also very over.
He was, and he lost. He should have won. Why didn't Rude do this? Talk about doing the job. Why didn't he do the job for Ty? Come on.
Is always a bridesmaid, never a bride.
Fair enough. Okay.
That's how they see him. I mean, he's another guy. He's in his mid-30s, right? It's getting to be now or never. with these guys stuck in quote unquote developmental who haven't made it to the main roster yet.
He's been in the company since what, 05? 06?
Yeah, long time.
And where has he gone? Like FCW?
Yeah.
It's bad. I feel bad for him. He's a company guy who loves pro wrestling, and that Vince can abuse and say, "Hey, listen, oh that's not Vince McMahon. That's fucking, I don't know, somebody else." Well, Ty, we're gonna be in Toronto. You're from Toronto. Actually, I'm from Montreal, so Toronto.
That's why he had to lose. You know,
Bobby's gonna go over.
Yeah. He's the baby face. He's the baby face from Canada, so he had to lose. Now Rude's from Canada, but he's the heel, and they made sure to not mention where he was from because they did, you know. But they had to, you know. Vince loves to have the baby face in their hometown lose. It's just one of his weird little obsessions.
You're right. Also, something that I think is pretty funny. Sasha will never fucking lose on Raw. Doesn't matter where, doesn't matter how. She'll never lose. But at a pay-per-view, she'll fucking lose every time. It makes everything mean nothing. It means nothing. Her win on Raw was stupid because Charlotte looks worse, but it's 50-50 booking, so it doesn't matter, and more frustration.
I'll tell you what, I am so fucking sick of this Charlotte and Sasha Banks feud. It has literally been going on since June. Since June. Think about that.
And it's almost December, and they're gonna wrestle at Roadcock. I'll be there for it, actually, in Pittsburgh.
Well, far be it from you to ever turn down a little Roadcock.
Yeah. You're right. Caught me red-handed or wrong gender. Either way, you know where I was going with that one, but.
I do. Caught you white-handed.
Eskimo brothers.
Oh gosh.
What was I gonna say? Fucking yeah, NXT was great. Nakamichi losing, the king of strong and I style. He lost. I thought it was a good match. Joe's fantastic, but that means Joe isn't coming up to the main roster anytime soon, which kind of sucks.
Yeah, he's another guy, mid to late 30s. It's now or never with these guys.
I think we keep saying that every time. You want to know something funny?
Yes.
Wow. Damn.
I'm having a medical episode because I'm so upset about this Goldberg match. I can't control my bodily functions. I've been pissing myself for 2 straight nights.
Ugh. That's gross.
Rough stuff.
Ew. I'm putting out a tweet, and I want to say the same thing to you. What would a match? So let's say Finn Balor never left the company due to injury. What would a Finn Balor Goldberg match look like?
Well, you know, knowing their booking, they would probably have Finn Balor beat him in a squash.
Everybody is so up in arms about the shock value this, shock value that. And I keep telling everybody David Arquette was pure shock value, and it ruined the company. I'm not comparing to... Go ahead.
Right. No, you're right, because what did it translate into? Yes, it was shock, but what did the shock translate into? That's what counts.
Company failure.
And it didn't translate into anything but failure.
Yeah.
So that's what you have to look at. Not just it was shock to shock. What did it translate into? And that's what everybody's missing.
For sure. That's absolutely it. And there is... So everyone knows about my infamous wrestling chat that I'm in. I need to go back and find it. Hold on. I got to find out when this was. Because I was literally told I was literally told I was worked because Goldberg won in a squash. No. That I was not worked. It was a stupid fucking decision. End of story. If Raw had like a 4.8 rating and had 6 million people watching, then I would have ate my words faster than I can say them. Because I would have been wrong, and it would have created money, and that would have been the whole point. It would have worked. It would have been a success. It did nothing of the sort, right? Nothing. Hell, there was more interest in the fucking tag match the night after, and Jericho and Owens. After Goldberg came out, no one gave a fuck about the announcement that he made because we all knew he was going to be at the Royal Rumble in some form or fashion. But now he's in the match. You're telling me, as a consumer of professional wrestling, and I believe in kayfabe because we're supposed to as fans, that Goldberg will lose to somebody whenever he just beat the best wrestler in the company in 86 seconds. How can he possibly get thrown over a top rope? Explain that to me logically. Because in storyline, it's impossible. He will beat everybody in 10 seconds and win the Rumble without a cause.
And just continue to bury the whole full-time roster. It's just so wonderful. Yeah, you know.
Is he number 1 in the Rumble? Or is he number 30?
I don't know. Yeah, he'll blow up. There's no way he's got to be number 30. The guy has no stamina at all. I mean, he totally blows up just coming to the ring. I mean, it'll never work if he's anything but like number 30.
But hey, he prepared very hard.
Yes, he prepared very hard. He worked out for 6 weeks. Congratulations. You want a cookie?
No cookies allowed on the 6 weeks diet.
That's right.
Enough about what we think. As we're almost an hour in here. That flew by. See, it shows what bitching can do. It makes time go by faster. I work Black Friday at Apple. Talk about bitching and making time go by faster. I'm a pro. So, Dean, you want to know what Dean thinks? I can say what Dean thinks.
I want to hear who's on the Dean's list.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Did you just come up with that now?
I did.
Oh, good for you. Here's a cookie. Goldberg shoved it up his ass first. I hope that was okay. But, in all reality, Dean does have a few things to say. Dean, who I would say is a sprite 31 years old, has a lot of things to say about what exactly went down, and I think his thoughts are going to be pretty cool. Brady, are you ready for Dean I Am Pietro? I think you are.
I'm ready. Who's on the list?
Because here comes the pain.
Who's going to get in?
This week's list, and there's a lot on the list, so let's get right to it. Women's division, you just made the list. It's the little things, guy. If Dana Brooke is chirping at Sasha Banks and Sasha Banks hits Dana and Charlotte is standing behind Sasha, who should hit Sasha? The answer is Charlotte, not Nia Jax. Nia Jax can join the beating, but Charlotte's got to take the first hit. And even then, she wants to just parade around like the queen. Make it make sense, guys. All right, done with them. Dean Ambrose, little thing, Brad, you might get this.
Uh-oh.
When they asked what he was doing when he was dressed as the Mountie, he should have said, I'm not the Mountie. Brad, do you get that? Do you understand where I'm going with that? If not, look up, I'm not the Mountie. Hype Brothers. God, they just made the list. You lose a match. 10 minutes later, you're hawking stuff on WWE Shop Zone like you just had a sunshiny day. Your day is on the list. Brad, you'll like this one. The booking of Baron Corbin. For the love of all its the best thing that's happening, Brad, is they're doing this with Kalisto, because I hate Kalisto. If he is doing anything but working with the cruiserweight, he's unbelievable in beating that person. He should never, and I mean ever, get one over on Baron Corbin. Ever. Yeah. Ever. If that TLC match is anything but a squash with Kalisto buried in a bunch of effing chairs, then the SmackDown writing team has totally failed him for good. Now, AJ Styles and James Ellsworth.
Oh man.
Brock Lesnar and Goldberg. If you are shitting on those, you just made the list.
Oh.
That's right. I'm willing to give Brock and Goldberg a chance. At first, I was, what the fuck, like everybody else. But you know what? I did that with The Undertaker and Brock Lesnar, too. And they made something out of it. And they made it work, and they made me believe in that result.
And then they blew it.
Despite all of their epic failures in booking in WWE, I'm willing to give it a chance to see where they go with Goldberg and Brock Lesnar. And accept the squash. Ellsworth beating AJ Styles. Ellsworth has no business beating the World Wrestling Entertainment Champion 3 times. Yeah, you're right. But you know what? It told an interesting story. It's an underdog story. The fans are behind it. They're behind him. What would you rather have him do? Who would you rather have him beat?
Kevin Owens.
You beat the top guy.
For the title.
You get a title match. Come on, guys. Let's think for a moment. They're not going to go Vince Russo, WCW, David Arquette on us. They're not putting the belt on Ellsworth. Relax. It's part of the storytelling. AJ Styles makes it work, and AJ Styles is still believable battling anybody else, despite the loss to Ellsworth. You know, it didn't destroy Razor Ramon when the 1-2-3 Kid beat him. It didn't destroy The Rock when the Hurricane got a win over him. AJ Styles is going to be just fine. Michael effing Cole.
Awesome.
You just made the list.
Awesome.
Oh my God. What an incredible moment. Dude, if you say what an incredible moment during an incredible moment, it makes the moment less incredible. It's absolutely incredible that you would say that. You just made the list. An incredible list. Finally, the Honky Tonk Man. If what Jake Roberts is saying about you is true, you son of a bitch, you are trademarking people's names to make money off of it? And the name of a wrestler that's not their name is one thing, the Patriot, but Jim Duggan, if that's actually true, and I don't know that it's true, but if it's actually true, you just made the list. And don't try to trademark the list, because the list belongs to Chris Jericho, and I'm just creatively acquiring it for this podcast. Peace, guys.
Well, that's the Dean's list, so it's different than the list from Chris Jericho.
It is. It's like whenever low-budget operations can't afford Frosty, so they get Bonzo the Snowman. Makes sense.
Exactly.
Or Ruby the red-nosed reindeer.
Yeah, so, obviously the women's division has its issues. I totally agree there. I mean, it's just not, very real. I mean, in particular, Raw, I think they're just presented poorly, and it's just not very relatable. So, I guess a little background on the Mountie story, because I'm guessing, probably didn't know.
Nope.
So, actually caused kind of a stir because the original Mountie, Jacques Rougeau, he had the Mountie character in WWF.
Sure.
The RCMP, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, made WWE actually drop the Mountie gimmick.
Really?
Yes, and so after that, it was a local promo, and Jacques Rougeau, I guess, as himself, and he made that comment about, he's not the Mountie. So basically, yes, the RCMP made him drop the Mountie gimmick, and that's why he said he's not the Mountie. Very insider. Probably a lot of people wouldn't, frankly wouldn't know that, but that was actually the deal there.
Well, that's
so there
cool.
you go. Yeah. The Goldberg Brock thing, I think, I gave Lesnar and Undertaker a chance, and that they just proved they blew that. Right, the whole streak.
Yeah.
It just went away in a minute 26. So,
And it rings true. Undertaker's win means nothing. Nothing at all. It's sad, actually.
it is sad. And, I do have to disagree about the Ellsworth deal. I do think it was fun at first, but they've devalued their championship so much that it's a terrible idea to continue to do it. Right, so when you saw the Hurricane beat The Rock, world champion at the time, but let's say he was. We know Razor Ramon was not world champion at the time, right? When he lost to the 1-2-3 Kid.
Yeah.
But let's say he was. We're not talking about 3 losses in a row on TV, which is what you got with Mr. Ellsworth. That is the problem, right? The problem isn't a fluke win and them carrying the story and him getting over. It's that they continue to do it. That's my problem. So I don't know where they're going, but I think ultimately, there's some things they can do for Ellsworth. Now he has momentum. He's over. They can do something there, but I do think they need to end this in a couple of weeks and move on.
We're certainly going to find out what's going to happen. And I'm very in tune to SmackDown. I can't wait for it every week. It's always a highlight. And NXT has me enticed once again. And I put this out on Twitter.
Want to add.
Go ahead.
Okay. Before you say that, I just want to say, I just want to thank Dean for having a voice of reason with Baron Corbin and Kalisto. Because on what fucking universe is Kalisto even a hair of a threat to Baron Corbin? This is a complete fucking joke. He should be squashing that goddamn midget and sending him back to Mexico. It's the end of days. Ridiculous.
Well, we're going to find out what happens. The underdog story. Kalisto is the new Rey Mysterio. He can beat anybody. Didn't Rey Mysterio beat Batista and Undertaker? That's all I have to say about that. Where can we find you on Twitter, Brad? Calm down.
I'm a little worked up, sorry. At the VOTV Podcast, our official podcast Twitter account. You'll find me talking wrestling and giving my controversial, bluntly honest opinions. You'll probably disagree with some of them. I'll probably work you into a shoot. That's just life.
just like Matt Jackson, right?
Just like I worked Matt Jackson into a shoot. Just like I worked his brother Nick into a shoot. Just like I worked JBL into a shoot. And on and on and on.
Remember that time we got the Road Dogg all worked up?
That's another one. I am frequently followed or blocked by wrestlers. It tends to be about 50-50. So, yes, you will enjoy my Twitter account one way or another.
And you can follow me at Jumpfish Gaming on Twitter, Wrestling News Up on Facebook, Jumpfish3 on Twitch. Is there anything else before we go watch some wrestling somewhere else? Maybe that's good.
Well, of course there is. This is our official Thanksgiving holiday podcast edition.
That's right. So
it is.
We didn't announce it till the end.
We did announce it till the end. That was totally intentional, by the way.
Of course it was.
And so...
Yeah?
And so...
Yeah? So what?
That clapping's messing my head up, right? I appreciate it. But I was trying to think of the next line. I'm like, all I hear is clapping. Here we go. Thanks anyways. Turkey for me. Turkey for you. Let's eat the turkey in my big brown shoe. Love to eat the turkey at the table. I once saw a movie with Betty Grable. Eat that turkey all night long. 50 million Elvis fans can't be wrong. Turkey lurkey do and turkey lurkey dap. I eat that turkey, then I take a nap. Thanksgiving is a special night.
That's right. A special night. We hope you enjoy it with your loved ones, friends, family. But don't spend too much time with them because, you'll probably be annoyed. Just kidding. Maybe.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. We will see you all next week in living color. No, Punk's not coming back. It was just a figure of speech. Everyone can relax. Have a great week.